Good afternoon, and thanks for joining SMTV Live on this Friday. I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Mackenzie Murray.
You know, yesterday on the show we talked a little bit about politics on Twitter. And what we've seen kind of over both conventions is the hijacking of some of these promoted trends. Because you can buy a hashtag, basically, that's what it is, buying a hashtag, and trying to get people to use it in their tweets and respond. What is interesting is that both parties have done this, and they've seen mixed results.
Yes.
So, for example, the one that one of the ones that the Democratic Party bought was hashtag Forward 2012, and they're seeing Democrats tweet that. They're also seeing Republicans tweet that with some negative tweets.
Yes.
Same thing with Republicans buying the promoted trends. Where was the one? Let's see. I think hashtag Are You Better Off? So you can imagine how the Democratic tweets are coming back and being sarcastic about that.
Exactly. It's kind of like you said, like a buyer's beware. And when you take the time to promote a tweet or to buy one, you know, you have to take the good and the bad. So you don't know what's going to come which way. So I mean, I feel kind of at odds ends about it, but you know, that's what they chose.
Yeah, for me, it's sort of a buyer beware for the companies who want to get into promoted trends.
Exactly.
Because you're buying them in the hopes that people will embrace them and talk, you know, and tweet these wonderful things about your company, but they're open, hashtags are open to the public.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
yeah.
like I was just saying, I was looking at a promoted tweet from McDonald's, and it was during the summertime when they were promoting one of their drinks. Yeah. And you know, I just clicked to click on it because at first I was like, "What's a promoted tweet?" But now we know, and it was just filled with some good, and it was definitely filled with some negative. So it's just you got to take it the good and the bad. It's just like when you buy a billboard and you're driving by and you're like, "Oh, people might like that," but you might get a graffiti artist at night who will go and ruin it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's out in public view, so you never know how people are going to respond.
Exactly.
If you have questions or need help with any of your social media platforms, please send them over to us.
You can email us your questions to questions@splashmediau.com, or you can tweet them by using the hashtag SMTVQuestions.
Feel free to hijack that hashtag. We would love for you to respond either way, positive and negative. We have some great questions today. Let's get started. Amber would like to know, how can I use Instagram for social media marketing?
I think Instagram is a really good way to integrate into your social media campaign or your marketing strategy. I've seen a lot of, campaigns on Instagram, repost this or hashtag this, or, Instagram to Facebook, post it on our Facebook wall, who has the best picture out there. So I think there's different ways and different critiques that you can use for your industry with Instagram, like Taco Bell.
I think Taco Bell's a great example.
They did a great commercial. I checked that out last night.
Now, see, what Taco Bell is doing here is, instead of using Instagram themselves, which businesses can certainly do, they've taken Instagram shots from their customers and compiled them all together into this cool little video.
Definitely.
That kind of walks you through the whole taco experience through Instagram.
People are just loco about that Doritos Locos taco, man.
So just a nice little creative way to take those Instagram photos and put them into a little video.
Definitely. Karsten wrote to us, "I need help coming up with content. Can you help?"
All right, grab a chair.
Sit down. Let's get into it.
Well, there are a couple ways you can go about content and go about planning out your content. One thing that I love to do, and we work through this when we're talking to new clients, is create sort of a Mad Libs chart of the kinds of titles like Top 10 Reasons to Blank, or 5 Things to Avoid when you're whatever, and just match it to your industry, and that can be a really fun, attention-grabbing list of titles to start with, and then put in your key phrases depending on your business.
Definitely. I like to, when I plan out my content for the month, I like to just go and do a Google search to see like what fun and interesting calendar holidays are coming up. I know like September is pain management month, so if you're in the healthcare industry, or if that's something you're passionate about, you can just go ahead and fill those in your calendar throughout the day. Definitely trivia is a good one. Did you know? True or false questions. And, and also just taking the time to like people in your custom pages and then resharing some of what they have. going out there in the social space.
Yeah, I think this is great. Look at influencers, not necessarily competitors.
Definitely not
except for, I guess, if you're just trying to get some ideas.
Exactly.
That's a great way to go. But as far as influencers, see what they're doing, share that stuff out, repurpose it if you can.
Definitely.
But I love your idea about using things like trivia and those fun open-ended questions. And there's so many sites out there where you can search by topic. So you can go to a quotation site or a trivia site and search by the topic of your industry and get a lot of great stuff to start with there.
Or, you know, like especially quotes, inspirational quotes.
Yeah.
I know that I had one client and I just ran with Motivation Monday. It was like the best time to just, you know, have a nice little Motivational Monday quote out there. So I really got into it. So.
I love it. I love the Throwback Thursdays too.
Oh my gosh,
Those are fun.
I don't like those.
Oh, you don't?
No, people like
It makes you feel old?
Yes, posting up pictures of me in high school and elementary school. Those are awkward times for me. I don't appreciate that.
That's funny. Derek wants to know, how much time in a day should I spend on social media? Well, if you're us, all day.
All day. 8 hours of your day.
Yeah.
And sometimes even later. I know I sometimes take some of my work home with me, and that's not a problem. I enjoy what I do, so it's not a problem for me.
Oh, that's important too, yeah.
But I also was a freelance social media, person, and you want to spend at least an hour or two per client.
Yes, I think that's a great. It's hard to pin it down to a certain time, but I think saying an hour a day per client is a great place to start, and obviously you can adjust that if you need to. Now, if you're a business with maybe a small marketing department, you don't have a person dedicated to social media, that also applies. You need to have someone spend an hour a day working on the social media campaigns if you don't have someone in-house doing that all day long for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Celia wrote to us, what is Facebook Notes?
That is an app that's let me pull one up here. It's an app on Facebook. And it's actually a great way to do a long-form post, basically is what it is. Some of the advantages of a Facebook Note over just a regular post are that you can, besides doing paragraphs instead of just a couple of lines, you can also do some minimal HTML. So you can see this example from a Facebook Note on Splash Media from a while ago. We've got an image here. We've got some bold text. We've got a link down here at the bottom. Continue reading this article, and that links to the Splash Media blog. So some cool HTML things that you can do in a note that you can't do in a regular post.
Yeah, and I know that you can. In Facebook Notes, you can tag certain people, so if you definitely, it's a good way to basically repurpose your blog, I think.
Absolutely.
If you have, if you have a blog site and you don't find any people aren't going to it, or you just want to just raise your SEO value, go ahead and post that blog post also in your Facebook Notes.
Right, and Notes actually used to be one of the highest ranking portions of Facebook and SEO. I don't know if that's still the case.
No, I think WordPress is probably taking.
Well, as far as blogs,
yeah,
absolutely,
as blogs.
yeah. And it's interesting, with these algorithm changes from Google, we're seeing the blogs come up faster than original content. Even though search engines love social media, we're seeing this original content on blogs and video. That is really what's going to rank for you. But Facebook Notes are still a great way to provide some more content, have another way for people to reach out and see the stuff that you're providing.
Definitely.
That's going to do it for today. I want to thank you for joining us this Friday for our live broadcast of SMTV. And thank you for sending in those great questions. Keep them coming. For Splash Media, I'm Duncan Gilman.
And I'm Mackenzie Murray. Have a great weekend.